here's a Texas State Representative, James Tallarico, and he went on social media. He's a Democrat. And he talked about how to combat the school choice efforts. This is like especially important because Trump is trying to eliminate the Department of Education. We're in an all-out, very scary moment, the Department of Education, just to give people the context on this, is an outgrowth of the civil rights movement and of like the end of slavery as well. The idea that to make Black people full citizens in this country, we have to give them access to a public education system, and eventually we integrated. Not that well, but there were attempts. Opposed by one Joe Biden, by the way, if you want to go back into those records. That little girl was me. People may remember that. But it really was he's been in politics that long. Oh, don't get me started on Biden. Anyway, attempts to basically privatize education and gut the Department of Education is a way to make it so that access to our educational institutions is there for the elite and the wealthy, and the rest of us have to get by and probably get indoctrinated by some charter school or religious teachings in our education. And the Department of Education is especially important too for states that, blue states will probably be okay, but red states, they rely on federal funding to subsidize, particularly in poorer areas, and for things like disability access for kids that may have a disability. Their education will be gutted if the federal programs go away. So that's a bit of a tangent, but Matt, this is a little bit more about this story.
Yeah, this is James Tallarico, and I don't think he's a socialist. Probably doesn't share my politics entirely. He is a really good politician and speaker, and I think with coming from a type of place that I think we need to hear people like James, Texans, defending public school, and this is a winnable battle. Texans love public school. Where do you think the football games are played?
Right.
And we talked about this with my friend Chris Leal. I sat in that chair doing this interview 4 years ago or something like that, whenever it was. All this CRT, anti-DEI, the migrants in school stuff is meant to chisel away support for those public schools. And I just thought this was really well put by James here.
Greg Abbott is selling this private school voucher scam by calling it school choice. But it's not school choice. It's the school's choice, because private schools can deny admission to any kid for any reason they want. So how is it choice when the private school has all the power? How is it choice when a majority of counties in the state of Texas don't have a single private school in them? How is it choice when private schools don't have to provide transportation or special education services? And how is it choice when the voucher doesn't even cover the full cost at most private schools in Texas? If you gave my former students on the west side of San Antonio a $10,000 voucher, there's still no way they could afford a $20,000 a year private school.
Yep.
But here's the catch. The wealthy parent who is already sending their kid to a $20,000 a year private school is about to get a $10,000 discount, a $10,000 coupon at our expense. Vouchers are welfare for the wealthy. And by taking money out of our public schools and giving it to wealthy parents who don't need it, vouchers would be a massive, historic transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. And the last thing I'll say, there are a lot of self-proclaimed Christians pushing these voucher scams. I can't think of anything more un-Christian than stealing from the poor to give to the rich.
Ooh, so when is Cornyn up?
I know. This is the second clip I've seen from Tallarico where he, especially when he gets biblical, because I take it he is a believer, and it makes me want to go to church.
Andy Bashir does that too, right? Like invokes religion in a more egalitarian way, and it's beautiful. Like, Bashir is also somebody who's really defended public schools.
But the way he put that is so clear, which is
Exactly.
like, oh, a voucher that my kid could go to a private school. Okay, let me do the math on that. $10,000. That's very generous. Oh, it's a $20,000 tuition. We are subsidizing rich people to be more and more alien from everyone else.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he put it incredibly clearly. And it's just a real shame, frankly, that the Democratic Party spent, I don't know, the last like 10 and 15 years engaging with this school voucher and school choice thing. It was
Arnie Duncan
yeah.
was like the point man under Obama pushing all this stuff.
I mean, I know it as well. Look, I went to private school, right? And I wouldn't send my kids to private school now. I wouldn't have the means to. But also, like back, I had a wonderful, wonderful education, but it also should not just be for people who can afford to go. And I'm in principle against it now for that very reason, because all of those resources that are going towards private institutions should be going to public ones to lift everybody up. But we already have these private schools. The voucher system just involves the government in extracting that money towards those private institutions as well. So you already have like this private pool of money going to private schools that should be going to like lifting up everybody. And then this just takes an entirely different, like entire step further.
Yeah, and North Dakota, it's fascinating. There's this graph here. Like North Dakota, where I'm from, probably the best upward mobility of any state in this country. In terms of if you came from low income, your chances of being a higher income than your parents is greatest in North Dakota. It's one of the only states that approaches Canada's level of that American dreamness. The rest of America is extremely unequal, and a huge part of that is because there is not a whole lot of private schools in North Dakota. There's not any. It's just there's some Catholic schools that kind of do the same thing, that tend to be a little bit more wealthier and segregated, but ultimately, that's the way to lift everyone. And when you let people opt out of that, it really like ruins society. It's really bad for any kind of inequality or that sort of thing.
And most of the countries, particularly like the Nordic countries that rate so highly in education, they either have zero private schools or like they're incredibly marginal because they put those resources towards like broadly educating the population. And I guess that's where I was going with the New Jersey thing. It was really prominent. Cory Booker was a big part of it in New Jersey, this like school choice thing. And it's massive malpractice because in reality, it's just because of Jersey and other states like this, their proximity to Wall Street. And there were a lot of Wall Street investors that were getting in on the idea of financializing our education and that were very excited about this. And it encourages me to see Democrats in red states like Texas and then Bashir in Kentucky holding the line, because hopefully it makes it more untenable for those kinds of politics within the Democratic Party in other areas of the country. Garrett from Nova, I went to private elementary and middle school in Minnesota and then public high school in Tennessee. I did the reverse. I was high school or a little bit of middle school. And then public high school in Tennessee. My kids will all be in public schools and we are going to advocate as fuck to ensure public schools are properly researched. Here. Same. Alex from Denver, let me just say that Ryan Clark is just as good and consistent as he appears when you cover him, if not more so. We're so lucky to have him in Denver. I mean, just an oasis in our local news.
Didn't he go after Boebert or something like that?
Yeah. Why I Write the Right says 5-year plan, become a prolific IMer, start a YouTube channel under the same name. Why I Write the Right. Call in on a Thursday when Matt is feeling feisty. Say something stupid. Have him go off on me. Make a YouTube video about how all leftists are mean. Get TYT contract profits. Yeah, that might work out for you. Gold Rush John, Tallarico's delivery is reminiscent of Anthony Yellisnick, and I'm here for it.
I don't get that reference.
Me neither.
Anthony Jeselnik's a
Jeselnik?
stand-up comedian.
See, I don't know who that is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't quite follow that comparison, but that's interesting. All I know is Anthony Jeselnik from is the Shark Party joke.
Oh,
which
so
is,
I went with the Y for the J because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
I would only say I can kind of see it, but Jeselnik is one of like in terms of his comedy, one of like the cruelest, most cynical comics on the planet. So very different material from.
For sure.
I love him though. He's very, very funny.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't want to. Maybe he's done things I haven't seen. I think he's genuinely. He had this joke, which is I thought kind of funny, which is he would do a shark party every time someone got eaten by a shark, just kind of show how rare it is.
Yeah.
But then he had to like update the joke because the media kept going to the families of the victims of the sharks to say like, and it's like, no, the media, like you're the ones doing that. They
Like
don't
elevating
need
the
you.
fear of sharks.
Yeah,
Yes.
they don't. That family doesn't need you to go say, hey, what about this American comedian?
I mean, if it bleeds, it leads, right?
But he also has like tells comedians to shut up about PC culture and stuff like that too. I'm pretty sure.
Well, he's cool in my book then. A new Midwesterner. President Musk blocked $2 billion in infrastructure bill funds that has not gone out to states yet to fill gaps in EV charging hubs. Are they just going to keep blocking different funding pools until one of these cases goes to court? Pretty much. I mean, Yarvin says don't care about the courts, and that's what Musk is following because he's actually not a deep thinker in any way. He's just like working backwards from this stupid tech bro philosophy. What Now says, thank you all for what you do. We are living in a dark timeline, but listening to this show makes me feel connected to a community of people trying to make a better future. Sometimes it's hard to find that locally. I hear that.
Media can help bring about imagined communities.
Yeah.
I have this Jeselnik thing if we want to watch. him
Okay,
talking about
sure.
comedians. Yeah, I can just go to it there.
People want comedy to be dangerous. I want comedy to be dangerous. And if you can't get in trouble, it's not dangerous.
Right.
So complaining about cancel culture is just saying you want to take all of the danger out of it and you want it to be easy for you.
Right.
That I think as soon as I say it, people cheer.
Yeah.
And this journalist was like, why do you think people are cheering? Do you think they believe you that you're about to talk about cancel culture? Do you think they like are sick of cancel culture? And I'm like, no. They're way more savvy than that. They've seen the first 40 minutes of the special. They know I'm not suddenly turning into Ricky Gervais.
Right.
Like they get that I'm about to subvert this in some way.
Yeah.
But I hate people complaining about cancel culture. I hate comics complaining in general. It's the second comedy boom. It's not going anywhere. People are making more money than ever before. And Dave Chappelle, who's won every award in the world, is complaining that cancel culture is making his job harder. It's like your job shouldn't be easy. If you're going to make that much fucking money, like, hey, maybe it should be a little hard. I got no issue with that.
Nice. I like him.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.